I just found out about this last night, and I just came and got in, and I'm just so thrilled to be here. Thank you. I've moved a lot this morning just listening to what you have to say, and where I am is that for the last 5 years I've been creating this product that is like a paradigm shift in an industry. And along the way, I've created a lot of resistance from the industry.
Well, we
to
imagine
make the change.
So. Paradigm shifts are that way, aren't they? Think about what you're saying. You're saying, I've got an idea, and I think everybody who was never heard or embraced this idea before should now embrace it. And we say, what are the odds of that in terms of law of attraction? I have a new idea. Nobody's ever heard of it. I want them to all hear of it all at once, and I want them to all like it. Is that what you meant?
Yes. Well, they did all like it, but nobody believed that I could really affect the industry. And also, they liked it so much that they all did it themselves and in their own way. And so now I'm at the place where I've finally gotten through my money allowance. And so I'm at this place right now where I'm ready to launch my product. And the whole industry is all doing their own thing. And so it's like I know there's some place for me to step into.
But you see, listen to the story that you're telling. You have to tell a different story, because the universe will back you up on the story you're telling. Isn't that nice to know? If you can hear us when we say, this thing that you want, you have created, and it is alive and well and in your vibrational escrow. And when you line up with it, it has to be exactly as you see it. And nobody else has anything to say about it. You made it sound like you have to factor in what all of the other ones are doing. And when you do, it scrambles your energy. When you pay no attention to what they're doing, even if they stole your ideas, even if they're doing a job of implementing your ideas, you have to understand that what they're doing, even if it's with your life's work, is none of your business.
Okay.
And when
they have all this big money, they're huge, like $1 billion. It's like, okay. So.
But you see what happens is when you make what they're doing your business, and you can't control them, when you make what they're doing your business, you lose your alignment with what you've got going. And you know what Jerry said about The Secret, which was essentially the same sort of thing? She came to them, said, I want to build a movie around your work. And then somewhere in the process said, I've decided that this isn't your work. I've decided it's my work. And I've decided that I should write you out of it. I'll either write you out of it, or you have to also say that it's not your work, that it's my work. Those are your options. Turn over the rights, the intellectual property rights to this venture, or I will have to edit you out. And Jerry and Esther said, that's really easy. Edit us out. And so they were edited out. And then millions of people are hearing about the sort of edited out version of it. And it was a little hard for Esther to take for a while. Because,
yeah, I get
because she knew the secret behind the secret. In other words, she knew what was really going on. But then Jerry, who was he's always steps back further, and he is always leaning downstream. He's given up his battles years ago. Jerry said to Esther, look at it this way. The secret is like a giant icebreaker that is out there just breaking the ice and helping millions of people who could not hear this otherwise. And some of them are ready for this leading edge material, and most of them are not. And isn't it wonderful that they've been reached in the way that they have now been reached, and those who want more now have readier access than ever, you see. Well, if that wasn't a downstream gap closing idea, you see. You said something sort of like that.
Well, it's interesting that you're saying that, because my biggest issue has been educating women to the system. And what they're actually doing is educating, spending millions of dollars educating women that they have shapes. And I'm trying to standardize fit in the apparel industry. And the industry's done it a different way for a long time. I see what you're saying, though, because The Secret really opened you up. Now people are readily accepting
Abraham. Here's the thing that we want to say about The Secret. The Secret was in Esther's vibrational escrow. In other words, it was part of where she was going. what Esther and Jerry have wanted from the beginning was for more people to discover their own power. And Esther does not really care whose words are the trigger. In other words, we've all said to each other right from the beginning, if you don't care who gets the credit, you can do a lot of good in this world, you see. But now let's point back to the selfish question that you're asking, because we mean that in the most positive way, because you cannot see other than through the eyes of self. You see, you did start a movement, as Jerry and Esther have started a movement. You know what got Esther down more than anything about The Secret? There were people that she knew intimately who now don't know that Jerry and Esther exist, who suddenly have gotten all of their material from some other place. They just sort of vibed it out of the ethers. It didn't have anything to do with the process that Jerry and Esther were about. And what hurt Esther's feelings is that they did not stay true to something that they knew. And this is the thing that we've been working to help Esther to understand. Don't ask anyone, even your best friend. This is for our 6th grader too. Don't ask anyone, even your best friend, to be true to you. You be true to you. Because everybody on the planet is oriented to be true to them. When you ask somebody to be true to you, you ask them to separate themselves to some degree from who they are. And when you get into harmony with that, the things that you can create. Let others do whatever it is they're doing. You be true to you.
Thank you so much.
Some very nice person gave Jerry and Esther a placard that they can lay in their dashboard. And when they do, it shines up on the window and they can see it on the window. When you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. It's all backwards. But when you read it from the reflection, it says, things always work out for me. And when you know that, then you can leave everybody else and what they're doing out of your equation. Things always work out for you.
Hello, Abraham. I wanted to thank Jerry for his work in bringing Abraham to all of us.
He certainly did stir things up.
Yes, he did.
And is still the single most dominant factor in the summoning of that which is Abraham. Yes. And when Esther gets overwhelmed, she points that out.
I want to be a selfish bugger.
You're off to a good start.
Thanks.
You're here is what we mean.
I've been listening to Abraham. I've been to several seminars with you. I've been in the hot seat before.
Injustice.
But the question that I have is to be a selfish bugger, I have to come in alignment.
Well, that's the epitome of selfishness, is to be in alignment of self, to see the world through the eyes of source self. In other words, what goes wrong with that statement for most, when you say, I want to be a selfish bugger, those words usually have you standing in protest of others who don't want you to be that, of others who would rather you please them. So the statement's sort of defensive. No, I'm not going to please you. I've got to please me, which is upstream. Mm-hmm. The epitome of being in alignment with source energy, the epitome of selfishness is tuning yourself to the vantage point of the total self, of the broader part of you. That's what we mean by selfish, seeing the world through the eyes of source. And when you're looking at the world through the eyes of source, you feel wonderful. You feel joyful.
Yeah.
You feel love.
I've grown up where my father always took care of everybody, and I've kind of modeled that too, where I feel I need to take care of everybody.
Well, get over it. Because it
want
disempowers them. When you take care of someone, what you say is, vibrationally, I see you cannot take care of yourself, so I'm stepping in. So while you might give them something that they think they want, you take something from them that they really want. You disempower people when you take care of them. You empower them when you say, I see how strong you are and how capable you are.
So how does that help me come in alignment with the source within?
Because If you care about the way you feel first, then that means you're going to coach yourself into seeing everything the way Source sees it. So you wouldn't see one of your children or a friend as weak and incapable. You would see them as strong. You would see what's in their vibrational escrow, not where they are. You see, that's the power that Source has. Source, in the moment that you give birth to a desire, gives undivided attention to it. When you lean in the direction of what feels better and better and better, incrementally, before you know it, you will gain a worldview as seen through the eyes of Source. And then you won't see someone in their weakness. You'll see them in their strength. You won't see their flaws. You'll see their positive aspects. You won't hear their complaints. You'll hear what they're really asking for. You won't see their problems. You'll be focused on their solutions. You won't worry about them because you'll know who they really are. And when someone is holding you as their object of attention and they feel that way about you.
And that's the work that I've started doing recently is trying to help other people to overcome the obstacles that they have.
But the thing that we want you to understand, you can't focus upon their obstacles and help them overcome them.
Right.
You have to see them as already having overcome their obstacles. You have to get there first. Yeah. You have to believe in their success so profoundly that when they're with you, they can't talk about anything else. And if people are complaining to you, then you're not there yet.
Okay.
And that's the trickiest thing about being an uplifter. You want to uplift the downtrodden and they can't hear you. So you see them as not being downtrodden and then you're over here and they're over there. And so some of you say, well, I think I'll tiptoe back over closer to where they are so that they can hear me. Can you hear me? And then you become one of them without even meaning to.
Yeah.
Because you can't vibrate over here and over here at the same time. So you kind of got to decide if you're really going to be that selfish being that you said you're going to be.
Right.
Selfish being hangs around over here, and law of attraction brings those ready for you to you.
Right.
Good time for a segment of lunch. We are complete. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. It is delicious to interact with those like you who are coming to know who you are. We make way too much of this. Just get a little car and hide it in your room for a little while and show yourself that you can tell which way is the right way and which way is in opposition to what you want. Reactivate in a conscious way the guidance system that is within you and watch how this universe knocks itself out to provide circumstances and events to accommodate you in the unimaginable, for most people, unfolding of a magnificent life. As you begin to just softly apply a little bit of what we've chewed on here together today, those who watch you will stand in amazement as they acknowledge that it seems that no sooner do you mention that you want something, that some aspect of it flows into your experience. They will begin to describe you as someone full of energy and life, someone clear-minded and resilient, someone who bounces back fast, someone who's not afraid to get out there and explore, someone who's insightful and interested, someone who is deductive and reasonable, somebody who is exploring and coming to personal conclusions without pushing against the conclusions of others. They will describe you as someone who's always nice to be with, someone that always makes them feel better once they've interacted. They will describe you as someone who gives benefit to everything that you give your attention to. You sort of shine a spotlight of well-being and soothing on everything that you give your attention to. This is who you are. This is the being that you were born to be. And anything less than that is not enough for you. And that's why you sometimes feel negative emotion. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain eternally and joyously incomplete.